what dark horrors are in store for us in season 14?
What dark? It's, you know what? None. We've decided to go full sitcom this year. It's basically All in the Family with Bobby and the guys. No, I think we're set up in a way that is, I think, gives us a lot of energy going into the season because Dean has been really if not the most, I would argue probably the most stable character throughout the past, certainly the past few seasons at the very least. And him being gone, him being changed, it creates a lot of problems for everybody. Problems not only in terms of, what do we do without Dean, but problems in terms of like suddenly sometimes when people, you don't realize how much you rely on someone until they're gone, basically. And now Dean is gone. And I think all of our characters are going through kind of what does that mean for them. And then Dean himself is kind of in a position he's never really been in before. He's trapped. He's being drug along in a way that, and kind of witnessing things and being, even if he is not doing these things, even if he's not the person like reaching out and killing people, it's still his hands. He still feels it. He still understands what's going on. And so, that changes him as well. Uh-huh.
How long before that sort of gets resolved, or maybe comes to a head?
I don't know that it gets fully resolved for a long time. I think, the thing about Dean as Michael is the question they're asking, because there's going to be a little bit of a 3-week time jump between the end of last season and the beginning of this season. So even when Dean comes back, there's going to be the question of what did Michael do? And that may lead us into some flashbacks and things like that, where Dean will play Michael for certainly more episodes than any of our characters have played another character on the show.
Are we ever going to see moments where Dean's personality being so comes into conflict with the Michael personality, whether it be on an astral plane type thing, or him coming out and having just that second?
Look, Dean's fighting for that, and he spends a lot of time fighting for that. Fighting against Michael's a hard thing, and I'm not sure that's a fight he wins.
Can you tease any new characters or returning characters or monsters that we're going to see this season?
Sure. I mean, I think, we're living in a world where, Bobby's come back for us, obviously. Mary's come back for us. Charlie's come back for us. Although, again, the Bobby and the Charlie we're seeing here are not the Bobby and Charlie. They look the same. They're played by the same actors. They have some of the same history. They've gone through very different experiences. And I think after last season where you got kind of the hood got pulled off, and oh my God, it's Charlie, that's great. We didn't really get to know her as a character. This season we get to know her as a character. And her story is very different than the Charlie we're used to. Jodie Mills will be back for us. Some of the Wayward cast will be back for us. And then as the season kind of Rowena will be back for us. And as the season progresses, it's kind of like who's available and who can come back and do things. But again, in a shortened season, there's probably less opportunity for cameos than in previous seasons.
Can you share when they'll start to arrive and what episodes they may start to arrive at?
Sure. I mean, we'll see Jodie, for example, in episode 3. And I think we'll start seeing Rowena comes a little bit later in our story around episode 7. And everyone else will kind of be sprinkled in as they go forward. And then obviously Mary and Bobby, as a core group, this new kind of group of hunters, they're there for multiple episodes in the beginning of the season.
So whereas this past season there was an episode 90% of it dedicated to Wayward Sisters, are we going to see an episode like that with maybe the alternate universe hunters, maybe another one to Wayward Sisters, or episodes dedicated to?
I don't think we'd have anything that takes the focus of our guys quite that much. I mean, that was done for a very specific reason. But at the same time, we really feel we have a really great cast right now. So putting the weight on people, going off and being away from Sam and Dean and telling a story about Cass or telling a story about Jack or telling a story about Bobby or Mary or something like that, that's very viable for us and is a good thing to be able to kind of spread things out in that way. But but telling an entire episode through somebody else's point of view, I think it's something we'd be unlikely to do.
Given that heaven and hell are between jobs in terms of leadership and rather decimated, does that mean we'll be seeing less of them, or?
I think we will. Certainly at the beginning of the season, they're very much on the back burner. Find Dean is the operating principle. The demons are kind of doing demony things. I mean, they will be a presence, but not probably the focused presence they've been previous seasons. Heaven, as we saw at the end of last season, is kind of boarded up shop. They don't have the resources to be involved, even if they wanted to be. That doesn't mean they won't be as the season goes on. That doesn't mean we don't have kind of this ticking clock to kind of a ghost apocalypse that we're dealing with. But I think early on, at least, that's not really at the forefront for everybody.
everyone has been on the big boat. So with the key mission now being getting Dean back, are we going to see Sam and Cass and Jack working together, or are they going to be sort of split off to do things?
I think they will be working together, and I think they will also kind of be following up different avenues at different times, but all toward the same goal.
And how involved are the Apocalypse World people going to be involved in that?
The Apocalypse World hunters are involved. I mean, you've got a lot of guys that come over from Apocalypse World. You know, they came for a reason. Their skill set is quite limited. You know, they're not going to work at like Abercrombie and Fitch. You know what I mean? We've been through Apocalypse. You have a certain set of skills that kind of very much apply to the hunter lifestyle, and so they will kind of continue that. And we'll meet, you know, Maggie, who's a character we met at the end of last season. We'll meet her a little bit more, and a few other people as well. But no, they're very much, you know, they've kind of been militarized. They've become, you know, the joke is they're flannel PD and kind of Sam's in charge at the beginning of the season.
Well, Sam has kind of inherited, we have all these refugees from the alternate universe, and it's not like they can, go out and, get a job at an ad agency right away. And they're experienced fighters. So Sam is sort of leading a band of hunters. He takes this responsibility kind of seriously. It's kind of a new role for him since Dean has sort of always been the alpha male and between the two of them, and it kind of wears on Sam a little bit. He feels an enormous responsibility for these people. He's trying to train them. So that combined with him looking for Dean, he's pretty much at his wit's end in a way, and he's trying to balance a lot because obviously the first and foremost is trying to get his brother back, and if and when he gets him back, what's that going to look like?
With Dean out of the picture, if you like, is the first arc of the season going to be more serialised? Is it harder to do the Monster of the Week episodes with the boys split up?
Well, we generally in the first couple of episodes kind of kick off our myth, and then ease into more of these the standalones. Standalones for Sam without Dean are going to be a little more difficult to do, but we have a Jack story we have to deal with, his relationship with Cass, and one thing I think we do pretty successfully is marry the standalones with an overlay of what's going on in the myth, and that'll be the same. If and when Dean comes back as Dean, that's going to cause, all other problems. I think what we've done is successfully managed to combine, both. And as I said at the panel today, I think one reason we've stayed on as long as we have is we roll out these stories a little more slowly. We're not always rushing to, big plot point, and that's because we got a great cast, and we're interested in their personal stories, and we can tell emotional stories that don't necessarily push the plot along, but are illuminating about the characters.
And that'll still be able to do with the shortened season?
I'm sorry?
Will you still be able to do that? Because
Oh yeah, I mean we're 3 episodes less, which is a godsend, I can tell you. But that's a full season. That's and we'll probably have the same amount of myth episodes that we had in our 23 episode season, and a little less in the standalone, so we can get that story all the way out. But I think everyone's actually looking forward to a little shorter season, because we don't, for Andrew and myself, we don't get a break. By the time we're through dubbing the last show of one season, the writers are in their room for the next. So it's a grind, especially when you're not young like me.
Speaking of standalones, Supernatural has the best standalone episode, Baby, Scooby Natural. Anything special coming this season? Might be able to.
We have the 300th coming up, and that's going to be a little different without getting into the specifics. That'll be. It's not it's not like the 200th, which is really special with the musical, but and that was hard to do. But this is going to be a little bit more of a love letter, little. It'll be different than your normal episode. So far as anything like Scooby or we haven't. We're just really sort of getting started, and all those episodes, by the way, other, like French Mistake and all that, they got pitched in the middle of the season. A writer's going to come in and say, "How about this?" And we just go, "Wow, changing channels was just a writer pitch that we kind of played around with." So we're always open to those kind of shows. So
Yeah,
hopefully
Scooby
someone will
One-
come up with one.